Bang! Neeves Knives, I'm Jared, and today we're going through 5 knives for 5 different purposes. These knives are completely different from one another. Starting the list off, we have the slicer, a mega slicer, a knife that has very thin cutting geometry and passes through materials really good. Now, one thing that usually has to complement the blade is the handle with a slicer. Has to be very comfortable, because it doesn't matter how good the blade passes through materials if it's not comfortable in the hand, which in a lot of cases you can take a knife that's not the best slicer and you put good ergos on it, it's going to pass through materials really good. This is the SPYDERCO GAYLE Bradley 2. Now, I do think that this knife is a multi-purpose knife. This is a great work knife. This is a great everything knife. It has a spear point blade with a nice deep hollow grind. It's about 15 thousandths or less behind the edge, and that's after sharpening it a couple times. The ergonomics are very neutral. This does have RC Blade Works, I believe it's RC Blade Works, micarta scales, so it does not come with these micarta scales, and also I have an aftermarket deep carry clip, but the knife is still basically the same, aside from I did modify it too. I did cut out some lock bar access. That's my biggest complaint about the GAYLE Bradley 2 is the lock bar access, but we have M4 steel. So we have a nice tough steel on this nice thin geometry blade. And I do think that this knife could also be slightly hard use in a way. You know, you could be really tough on it. It's definitely a great work knife. Now, if you like this, but maybe this is a little bit out of your price range, another one that you could use is the CIVIVI Elementum Button Lock. They basically have the exact same profile and blade shape, which I absolutely love. Same neutral ergos. This is going to be very similar in use to this. 14C28M blade steel, fantastic tough steel. It's going to take a really good edge, and it's made for geometry like this, which is really thin. So it's a fantastic slicer. The only thing is it is somewhat of a gravity knife, so you know, I don't think it's actually considered a gravity knife, but it basically is. So one other one that I would consider a light duty slicer, and then we'll get to the next category, is the new CIVIVI QUBIT. Again, 14C28N does really good with this super slim thin geometry. It is a mega cutter. Right here it's like 76 thousandths behind at the spine right here, and it does get thicker this way and then thinner this way. And then it's like 9 thousandths behind the edge or something like that, if I'm remembering correctly. But really good ergonomics, fantastic slicer. It is a button lock, so it's not going to be like a hard use knife in any way, shape, or form. You do have a bottle opener, but for the materials you're getting, for 65 bucks, this is an amazing purchase. Hard use, a hard use knife. Now I want to shout out Tools for Gents really quick, because we do have an affiliate link with Tools for Gents. I will be putting their store down in the description for you guys. They have all kinds of amazing knives, so we will be getting more and more of their knives on the channel. Right now, that's probably the only place you can get the PMP Kodiak, at least that I can find, is from Tools for Gents. So if you're wanting to check out one of these or anything else from them, please check out the affiliate link down in the description. Now, this thing is an absolute monster, and it's fun. It is fun because it is a beast. It's heavy, it's a brick, but it's built very, very well. Like, this is done to a very high level as far as build quality, fit, finish, action, everything. So the blade shape is a spear point-ish drop point blade, whatever you want to call it, but it is thick. It is definitely a hard use knife. I did do some chopping with it, and it does chop pretty good. The titanium frame lock has this amazing frag pattern over the top of it. The backspace are super thick, super heavy. It's definitely a heavy beast, but that's what it is. It's a hard use knife. So this is a knife that you can be, a little bit more tougher on than maybe some other knives. Now, it is still a frame lock, so you do have to take that into consideration, but as long as your hands are wrapped around it, this thing should be rock solid, because you actually make the lock stronger while your hands are wrapped around it. But yeah, what a beast. So the PMP Kodiak, like I said, check out Tools for Gents down in the description. And I do have a full first impressions on this. I'll put a little card up here in the corner if you want to see more about this knife. Next is a self-defense knife, or a folding self-defense knife. Now, I know some people say only fixed blades should be, so we'll check out one of those too, but The off-grid knives Raptor. If you look, it has a little hawk bill up here in the nose. So when swiping, this thing catches you kind of like a tiger's claw and kind of pulls you in to the blade. It is very nasty. However, you can also use this thing for everyday carry purposes. As long as you know how to sharpen, you can keep this edge nice and sharp, because this is a nice acute tip that you can kind of claw into things, kind of like a claw. G10 scales, steel liner lock, deep carry clip that is reversible, and it has really, really good action. Now, like I said, D2 steel, it's a nice broad blade. It actually slices pretty good. Or maybe you're more into a dagger style self-defense knife. Now this one is still a liner lock, but it does have a wave feature. So when you're pulling it out of your pocket, you can deploy it rapidly. And it is very, very pokey with this dagger style blade shape. This is the Ganzo SAMPSON, or the ADIMANTI SAMPSON, whatever you want to call it. G10 scale steel liners. It does have a steel, decently deep carry clip. Now it has good access to lock bar, very smooth. The flipping action's amazing. So this is just a fantastic EDC knife, you know, but I know it is leaned more towards a self-defense style knife. You know, you can just see it with the wave feature and, you know, everything about it. Very ergonomic, very grippy. You know, you're not gonna slip up the blade when puncturing. So, but you always have to be careful with liner locks when poking into things. So, you know, granted, I don't think with certain things it's going to matter as much, but, you know, you still want to be aware of it. And that is why most people say just go with a fixed blade. So this is from TKELL Knives, who I always recommend for self-defense knives. Their knives are virtually indestructible, and they lean more towards the tactical side. They're 100% USA made, which I absolutely love, and they're done very well. You know, they're a little bit rugged, a little bit, I'm not gonna say rough around the edges, but they're a little bit rugged, which is exactly what a lot of people are gonna want in a knife that is meant to survive, you know, and this is definitely one that will. He has all different kinds of belt sheaths and ways to carry the sheaths, so you can clip it inside the waistband, in the pocket, on the belt, like so many different ways. You have a little attitude adjuster over here. This one is designed to be more in the PKELL grip, but you know, you can use it in the forward grip, you know, like that. So lots of different ways to carry this, and he has all different kinds and styles of self-defense knives. So this is just one example. There is many. Definitely check out TKELL Knives. I will have them linked down in the description. Next is a camping / hunting knife. So this one's gonna lean more towards the camping style, but we're gonna check out a hunting knife too. And you could totally use this as a hunting knife, but the blade and grind, you know, with this Scandi style grind is definitely gonna be more for, you know, woodworking, wood processing, breaking down wood on a campsite. And BPS Knives is in Ukraine, and these are all handmade, and they're very affordable for what you're getting. I will link them down in the description. Their handle work is done very well. You know, really nice wood, extremely ergonomic. This blade shape is perfect for most things. Obviously, you can see it. It's, you know, somewhat of a spear point blade. So it's gonna be nice and tough with 1066 steel. I think it's 1066, yeah. 1066 steel, and it's going to be a steel that's, you know, somewhat easy to maintain out in the field and keep going, and will be perfect on a campsite, you know, whether it's for food prep, making fire, chopping wood, things like that. Now, if you're wanting somewhat of a fighting style hunting knife, you can go with this KIZER Bowie. It is the Southwest, the KIZER Southwest, and it has a clip point blade, which is just known for, you know, for hunting purposes and things, because you have that belly. You still have a tip that you can poke into things, you know, and, you know, peel the skin back. But it's also a self-defense knife, because these blade shapes are basically just designed for self-defense knives. Whether you're striking backwards, you know, this tip will really get you and dig into you, or forwards. It's very good at poking and things like that. Very ergonomic. And the only problem with this for hunting, the biggest downfall to me is its D2 steel. So D2 is not going to be the best hunting steel. Now it'll hold a good edge and it'll do all that, but the corrosion resistance is not there. Now if you keep it dry, keep it clean and stuff like that after hunting, you'll be fine, but it is something you need to be careful with, especially in certain environments. D2 will patina and rust on you. So just take good care of it and you'll be just fine. But it is very ergonomic. I love that you can choke up. So this is definitely one that, you know, it's a little bit thicker. It's definitely going to be good for tougher use tasks, and a phenomenal hunting knife or fighting knife. It also has a little spot right here where you can tie to a stick or something and make a spear out of it. At least that's the way I look at it. That's what I'm guessing it's for. I haven't used it for that, but that's what I'm guessing it's for. You got a lot of traction back here, you know, in the reverse grip. Yeah, it's a super solid, well-built, full tang knife that should be pretty tough out there in the field. D2 isn't necessarily considered a tough steel, but, you know, with the geometry, it's going to be relatively fine. It'll be just fine for you. Now, if you want a folding knife for that same type of duty where, you know, it's for outdoors, camping, maybe hunting, things like that, I do highly recommend this if you're wanting a folding knife, because when it goes dull, you can just replace the blade. These are like 30 bucks. It comes with 4 blades all together. You have 2 tontos and 2 drop points. It does come with a Scandi grind. The blade steel's 440A, so it's not a high quality steel or anything, but it's gonna be a steel that's easy to sharpen, easy to maintain, and it's gonna stay sharp decently long, especially considering, you know, if you're doing just regular cutting tasks. And you always have the extra blades. If you don't know how to sharpen, you can just slap a new blade in it. But it has fantastic flipping action. You can easily change out the blades, by the way. You can just take this little guy right there. That's the key. Put it right there, twist it. Once you loosen this up, you just push the button and the blade will pop out and you can pop a new one back in. Tighten that little doozy up right there. But yeah, it does have ball bearing action, so, you know, it's going to be easy to rinse out. You know, if you get any gunk or anything in the pivot, it'll be super easy just to rinse out. And, you know, to me personally, I think that this is a fantastic choice for somebody out in the field, you know, and they don't want to have to sharpen or anything like that. They can just easily replace their blade. And that is 9-tie EDC. Next is bad environment knives, or knives for any environment. So what is the purpose of that? Basically to be corrosion proof, because to go into any environment, there are very salty environments, very wet and just rugged environments that basically corrode any steel that comes, you know, even near it. So in that case, you might want maybe a quiet carry, right? This one is an LC200N. They also have knives in Vanax, titanium frame lock. Everything on this is basically corrosion proof, so it's gonna be a knife that you're never gonna have to worry about corroding or anything, but it'll still hold a good edge, and it's really good quality. These are premium knives though, so if you're wanting a corrosive knife or a corrosive proof knife that's a little bit more affordable, I would tell you to check out SPYDERCO's Salt series. However, personally for me, I would stay away from the H1 steel. Check out either their LC200N. I know recently they started using MagnaCut, so LC200N or MagnaCut, fantastic for Salt series knives. So definitely check out SPYDERCO Salt series. I recommend those, but like I said, I do not recommend the ones with the H1 steel. The steel just, it sucks to resharpen. It doesn't hold an edge for nothing. Like it's a horrible edge retention. And you know, and to sharpen it back up, it's just, it's not great. So LC200N, phenomenal, really good steel, holds a good edge, easy to sharpen, and it'll be just as corrosion resistant, or at least near as corrosion resistant. But if you're wanting the premium categories, check out something like this, which is the Quiet Carry Drift LC. The Quiet Carry Drift LC, like I said, it is a premium knife with premium materials, with a premium price tag, made in Taiwan. I personally love it. It's one of my favorite knives of the year so far, you know, right next to the Quiet Carry 9. I think they're both great. Still choosing which one I liked more, but yeah, these are definitely knives that you can bring into corrosive environments and not have to worry.